Welcome to Fluxedo Junction. I'm Scott Kuchler. Each episode we bring you the best music of all genres from throughout the world, and this week we'll be speaking with actor and musician Joseph Massimillo. Joseph will be playing the title role in Andrew Lloyd Webber's and Tim Rice's classic Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which opens on Saturday, March 8th at the Brooks-Elowsky Theater at the Plainview Jewish Center on Saturday, March 8th, and runs through Sunday, March 16th. This production, directed by Bruce Bider and choreographed by Megan Park, also stars Terry Hockler as the narrator. Let's get things started with a recording from the original Broadway cast album. Here's Joseph's Dreams on Fluxedo Junction. I'm realizing you and I went to the same college. I went to Five Towns also.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I went a million years before you went there. In fact, when I went, it was still like a 2-year school in Seaford. My first year there, it was still a 2-year like audio school. And then my second year there, they became a 4-year accredited school in Dix Hills. It also looks like you're friends with, I mean, I know Facebook friends can be kind of random, but do you know Steve Germano? Does that name ring? Yeah, Steve Germano. Okay, so just not to make this about me, but years ago, like I used to do theater all the time, like 20 years ago. Joseph is the first show that I've gotten back to in 20 years. But back in the day, like in the 90s and the 2000s when I was doing shows, they were largely with Steve Germano at a theater company called the Swan Theater, which was just really kind of blocks away from where we're doing Joseph. And yeah, I haven't actually seen him in person in a long time, but great guy. He was the director. He directed me in Jesus Christ Superstar. I think we did Bye Bye Birdie. I don't know. I did so many shows in those days, I can't even remember them all. But he's a very talented guy, really sweet dude also.
I did a show with him in 2019, 2020, something around there, called The Prodigal Son. It was a 5-person cast. Mm-hmm. And that's when I met him, and now I work with him at a place called Magical Wonderland. It's a seasonal Christmas meet and greet with Santa and all that.
Yeah.
So I've been working there for the past 2 years.
Wow. Well, we do live on an island after all, so I suppose
that is true.
If you're running in theater circles in an isolated area, you're bound to run into some of the same people. But
right, absolutely.
Let's get a little deeper into your story. So you've obviously done a fair share of theater before this. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into it? Tell us a little bit about some of the previous shows that you've done and what some of your favorites were, and then we'll get more specific into Joseph.
Sure. The first show that I was ever in was in 4th grade. I played Aladdin in Aladdin. And funny enough, Bruce Bider was the director for that. He is also the director, of course, for Joseph and Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. That was my first show, and then I liked it so much that I just kept doing more shows all across Long Island. I started doing shows at Plainview Jewish Center with the patio players. When I was in 7th grade, I did Fiddler on the Roof, and I did every show from Fiddler until now with Joseph.
Wow.
I'm a veteran when it comes to shows at Plainview.
So, what was it that got you interested in theater in the first place? Have you always been musical? Have you always been theatrically inclined, or was it something that you discovered by accident? How did it work?
Well, I started playing guitar around the same time as I did theater, so it seems like I just got punched in the face with all this music. With guitar, with singing, and with theater. It all happened at the same time, and I just continued with it until now. And, I love it so much. That's kind of how I got into it. And I haven't stopped.
Now, in Joseph, this is it's going to be a great production. I can't wait for people to see it. And as I said before, you're doing an amazing job. Your job is so difficult, man. I mean, you're pretty much, you're on stage the entire time, aren't you? Is there ever a time that, I guess there's 1 or 2 numbers where you're not directly on stage, but 90% of the time you're out there. I mean, that's a heavy burden.
Yeah, what's really difficult about the role is the reactions. Because, yeah, I am on stage, but there's a lot of times on stage where I'm not singing, where I'm just listening to someone else sing and I have to react. And I think that's the hardest part of the role. Reactions.
I could see that, but just from my vantage point behind you on the stage a lot of the time, you're very convincing. You seem to be a natural at it. When you were at Five Towns, were you studying music? Were you studying theater? What was the situation there?
I did not do any theater at Five Towns College. I majored in music education, so I'm certified to be a music teacher. So I was doing theater outside of school, in the community, but I never actually stepped foot into the theater community at Five Towns College.
It was just getting started when I was there. I always remember, like I said, my second year there was their first year as a 4-year accredited school, and they moved into that facility they're in at Dix Hills. And they were just like, it was obvious that they were trying to move from being an audio school to like a school of the arts, which is in fact what they are now. But I'm so old that they hadn't even gotten that far yet. But that's cool. So music and theater, how do they tie together for you? Are they, I know they cross over, but do you have a separate music career that is apart from what you're doing theatrically as well?
Oh yeah, of course. I play acoustic guitar with a good friend of mine who is also playing guitar in the Kid of Joseph. His name is Matthew Manero.
Oh, I met him. Yeah,
I
met him.
You have met him. Okay.
Yeah.
So the two of us, we go to different bars and around Long Island, and we play cover songs. We both play guitar and we both sing, so kind of like harmonies, and it's a lot of fun. That's my music side. I'm also starting to give guitar lessons and singing lessons as well at School of Rock.
Hey, I teach. That's where I work. I teach at School of Rock.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, the one over in Farmingdale.
Oh wow! I'm trying to get a job at Rockville Center. I'm in the final stage of the interview process.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great one over there. That's cool, man. Oh wow, we have more in common than I thought we did.
Yeah. What do you teach?
Guitar, bass, drums, piano, and vocal. And every once in a while, somebody will come in looking for a ukulele lesson that I can do.
Wow, that's really awesome. I had no idea. Yeah, we do have a lot in common.
Yeah, that's cool. So, who are some of your influences, musically, theatrically, both or otherwise?
Well, musically, I grew up listening to the Beatles.
My favorite band.
Lloyd.
Yeah.
I really love the classical rock from the 70s, the hair bands from the 80s,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much everything except for new music. That's how I roll.
That's cool. Well, your voice, it's a fantastic voice, and I can hear, I don't know if it's, maybe I'm projecting, but I hear the rock influence in your voice. Like a lot of times when you're in with a bunch of theater people, there's that theater voice, and there's nothing wrong with that theater voice. I mean, some of the best singers in the world are theater singers, and some of my favorites. But there's a difference between someone who is just a straight theater singer and somebody who's got that kind of rock or pop background. I can hear it in your voice, and it makes me even more of a fan of yours than I would otherwise be.
Wow. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I consider my voice more of a theater voice, but I've also grown up singing so much rock that I guess I can somehow combine both of them into a unique voice.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about your acting chops, separate from the musical. Now, obviously, Joseph is, for lack of a better term, I guess you would call it a pop opera, not quite a rock opera, but it's music all the way through. It's not like one of these, intensive, conversationally intensive shows that you would see in like a black box theater. This is a big number with big production numbers, but still you've got to get into your character. And I know you've done other shows in the past that were not, strictly music all the way through. So, what is your technique for getting into character? How easy is it for you to get into character?
Well, I think throughout the rehearsal process, that's where I really find the character. I have been in many shows before. I would say this is the first pop opera or rock opera, whatever you want to call it. I have done reviews in the past where it's just song after song, but this show is so different from that. I think the hardest kind of acting that I've ever had to do was just straight plays, just no singing, no dancing, just acting. Those are really difficult because it's just a character that you have to find.
I've never done a show like that, actually. Every show I've ever been in has been a musical. So I have no idea what that's like. And I love drama. I love seeing stuff like that on the stage, but I don't think I'm a good enough actor to pull that off. I think I'm certainly you are. But for me, it's easy to just get up there and sing in a really loud voice and hope I can melt in with the dance. The dance situation. But you're confident. You exude a confidence on stage that not only makes you compelling to watch, but I think it gives confidence to the people around you in the cast. You may not be aware of the effect that you have on the people around you, but just watching you in rehearsal, you elevate everybody else's performance. And you're so good with the kids, too. I should say that also. There are kids in this show. And the kids are awesome, by the way. The kids...
They really are.
Yeah, my wife and I were talking about this. The kids in this show know their places and know their parts better than the adults. Way better. But you're so good with them. Like, I see you taking time to speak with them in between, things that we're working on. But you really do seem to have this magnetic quality. It makes people want to be around you. And I think you really, I don't know if you're aware of it, you really do seem to boost the performance of the people who are interacting with you.
Oh, if I'm being honest, I was not aware of that. I just thought that everyone was kind of doing their own thing. I didn't realize how much influence I had with the rest of the cast. But, I just try and talk to everyone in the cast. I want to be friends with everyone, and, I don't think there are too many adults going up to the kids, so I decided to befriend them, and every time I walk into rehearsal, they come up to me, they're like, Joseph, and they're so excited to see me, and, I love that. I love it so much.
That's cool. That's great. Well, listen, what do you have coming up after this? Do you already have your next project lined up, or are you...
I do. So I am rehearsing for another show right now. Speaking of plays, this, it's not a musical or any singing or dancing. It's a compilation of a few plays, I think 4 or 5. I'm in one of those short one-act plays. It's called Hey Tom, and I play a character called Jay, who I walk into the subway and I see someone who I swear is Tom Hanks. And it's a very funny play where this guy's trying to prove to me that he's not Tom Hanks, and I'm very convinced that he is.
Cool. Where can we see this? When is this show happening, and where is it happening?
So, it's a little interesting. It's going to be all throughout the year up until January of 2026.
Wow.
But, there's only a few shows each month. We go to different libraries or different senior citizen houses, and we put on the shows. So there's not a specific one location that the show's going to be at.
That sounds fascinating. I can't wait to check it out. And of course, we should mention again that Joseph opens this week. And let's see. I know that we back announced all the dates, but I want to make sure I get them all. So we're doing March 8th and 9th, which is Saturday and Sunday. So opening night is March 8th. And then we've got the following weekends, same schedule, Saturday and Sunday. And anybody who's interested can go to, let's see, what's the best website to send everybody to on this? There is a Facebook page. Patio Players has a Facebook page. That might be the best place to go. So if anybody really wants to get information and or buy tickets, just look for Patio Players in Plainview on Facebook. And do you have anything else coming up that you want to promote other than your theatrical stuff? Do you have any music that you're working on? Any gigs coming up that we can go see you actually just do music?
No, not at the moment. I don't have anything like that coming up. Speaking of Steve Germano, though, that you mentioned before,
yeah.
I am planning on doing Godspell right after Joseph, and Steve Germano is directing that.
Oh, interesting. Where is he doing that? Where are you guys doing that?
I forgot. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but somewhere relatively local.
Godspell is one of those funny shows, man, because everybody I know in theater has done at least 2 productions of Godspell. It's just like one of those shows that everybody has moved through. And it's so funny to me because it's such a usually it's a small cast. And it's just a weird show. I love it. It's just about my favorite show. But it's such a million years ago at the Claire Rose Playhouse, I played Jesus in Godspell, or Stephen as he's in the cast in the script, because all the characters in the script are named after the actors who originally played them on the stage. So he's never actually called Jesus; he called Stephen. But that was a hard show to do, man. I would love to see you in that. I can imagine that being dynamite. And Steve's a great director. I mean, I really loved working with him. It was so long ago, though. Cool. So great. You got a lot going on, man. You got a lot going on with this show and with Steve and everything else. And I just really want to encourage everybody to come out and see us in this, but mainly you. Because as I said before, your performance in rehearsals has been great. It's fun to watch. As I said, I think you really do elevate the people around you and motivate the people around you. And you're a nice guy too. You were actually the first person. I came into this cast late. And so the cast had already bonded, but you were the first person I met. Stu brought me right over to you, and you were so nice, and you've continued to be nice all the way through. And, yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, and I hope to have you back on to talk about the next show. And I
would love that very much.
Great, man. Well, I really appreciate your time, and thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you very much, Scott. Thank you for having me.